Picture a universe where aliens rule with titanium claws, crystal mines, and fleets that blot out stars. Then, a lone human steps into their elite academy, a fragile, oxygen-breathing nobody. They laughed. They bet on her failure. But in 11 seconds, she rewrote their rules and shook the galaxy. This is the story of how one human changed everything. The Galactic Concordium had thrived for 19 millennia, a sprawling alliance of species so diverse that Earth's biodiversity seemed like a child's sketchbook by comparison. When humanity stumbled into this cosmic arena, they were less a contender and more an amusing footnote. The universe teemed with life forms that defied imagination, creatures of liquid metal, sentient gas clouds, and telepathic fungi. Science fiction on Earth had barely scratched the surface of what evolution could dream up. The Zychron, towering beings of molten iron who radiated heat like portable suns, controlled the Concordium's industrial backbone. Their rivals, the Lysarans, were crystalline entities who communicated through harmonic vibrations that could shatter lesser materials. The swarm-like Vren, with their networked consciousness and relentless reproduction, maintained the largest armada. Then there were the amorphous sylphids, shape-shifting blobs who could mimic any form but preferred to ooze through diplomatic summits, leaving a trail of mildly corrosive slime. Humans, by contrast, were soft, squishy, and alarmingly prone to dying from minor inconveniences like a stiff breeze or a rogue bacterium. A Zychron could melt steel with a glance. Lysarans could withstand plasma barrages. Vren colonies could overrun a planet in weeks. Sylphids? No one was entirely sure what could kill them, as their biology seemed to defy consistent definition. Humans, however, could be felled by a poorly cooked meal. Yet through a mix of stubbornness and diplomatic maneuvering, humanity had secured a seat in the Concordium and, more improbably, slots at the Celestial Vanguard Academy. This institution, built within a hollowed-out asteroid orbiting a neutron star, trained the galaxy's elite warriors to combat the Rift-born, enigmatic entities that emerged from dimensional tiers to devour stars. The Academy's instructors, grizzled veterans of countless campaigns, viewed humans with the same enthusiasm one might reserve for a particularly persistent mold. Commandant Valthor, a Lysaran whose crystalline body hummed with battle scars, had once remarked, "Their lungs collapse under standard gravity. Their bones snap like dry twigs. They require constant hydration. Why are we wasting resources on them?" Political pressure from the Concordium's council, eager to maintain fragile alliances, forced the Academy to admit a handful of humans each cycle. Most lasted a few weeks before limping home with injuries ranging from comically avoidable to miraculously survived. The Academy's unofficial tradition of betting on human failure was a cherished pastime, with odds updated hourly. When the latest transport arrived, its hull pockmarked from interstellar debris, it carried a new batch of recruits. Among them was a human, Lena Voss, designation 3924H. At 5'6" by Earth metrics, laughably tiny by Concordium standards, she had a lean build that, while athletic for a human, looked like a medical emergency to the Academy's medics. Her jet-black hair was tied into a tight braid, and her hazel eyes scanned the landing bay with a quiet intensity that went unnoticed by most. Her kit bag, pitifully small, contained essentials to keep her alive in an environment designed for hardier species. "Step forward. Specimen 3924H, bellowed drill instructor Kravos, a Zychron whose molten skin glowed faintly with irritation. "State designation and origin. Lena Voss, Earth, Sol System, Orion Arm, Milky Way," she replied, her voice steady despite the thin, alien-calibrated atmosphere. A wave of alien amusement rippled through the bay, hisses, clicks, and low-frequency hums that passed for laughter. A Vren cadet's antennae twitched mockingly. "Oxygen-dependent life form detected," intoned the bay's AI. "Adjusting environment to prevent cellular degradation. Efficiency loss, 0.03%. Recommendation: reconsider species inclusion." Kravos loomed over Voss, his heat singeing her. Uniform's edges. Historical data suggests you'll be hospitalized within 2 cycles. Generous estimate. I plan to graduate, sir, Voss said. The laughter this time was seismic, rattling loose bolts in the bay's framework. A Lyceran cadet, Clysera, whose crystalline form refracted light into hypnotic patterns, glided forward. I am Clysera, 3rd generation elite. The Crucible has broken every human who dared approach it. You will fare no better. Looking forward to proving you wrong, Voss replied, her smile sharp enough to unsettle anyone familiar with human body language. A Sylphid cadet, Zorath, oozed closer, its containment suit humming. Statistical probability of your success. 0.092%. You're more likely to spontaneously combust. Never been a fan of stats, Voss said, shouldering her bag. The medical drone assigned to her buzzed annoyingly, listing her suboptimal vital signs. She ignored it, striding toward the Academy's core, where her journey as the galaxy's latest punchline began. Academy life was a gauntlet of physical and mental torture. The 39-hour cycle disrupted human biology, like a sledgehammer to a clock. Wake-up alarms tuned to jar every species hit Voss mid-dream, leaving her disoriented. The AI's morning greeting. Human Voss, you remain functional. You are late. Set the tone. Training started with environmental acclimation, a polite term for exercises under bone-crushing gravity. For Zychron, it was a warm-up. For Voss, it felt like her organs were staging a mutiny. Human exhibit signs of catastrophic circulatory strain, noted instructor Silera, a sylphid who specialized in documenting species-specific breakdowns. Intriguing how the blood persists in its vessels. Voss survived, leveraging Academy rules that allowed species accommodations. While others lifted weights that could crush a tank, she used modified equipment, focusing on precision over power, Commandant Valthor observed. The human compensates for weakness with strategy. Unexpected. His tone suggested this was not a compliment. Combat training was another revelation, paired against Clysera, whose crystalline body could slice. Through steel, Voss faced a demonstration meant to highlight her frailty. We'll practice surrender protocols, Kravos announced, his molten grin menacing. Clysera lunged, a shimmering blur. Voss sidestepped, redirecting Clysera's momentum to send her crashing into the mat. Silence fell. Unorthodox maneuver, Clysera protested, her vibrations indignant. Perfectly legal, Voss countered, citing obscure combat regulations. Lyceran crystals have 19 cleavage points. I just used one. Clysera's rivalry turned personal. She tampered with Voss's gear, accidentally rerouted toxic gas to her training station, and mocked her relentlessly. Voss responded by excelling, her movements growing sharper, her tactics more cunning. By week 5, when most humans quit, she was still standing, her body adapting through sheer will. The human rewrites the rules, noted instructor Thryme, a Vren hivemind. She does not break, she bends the challenge. Valthor dismissed it. The Crucible is unbreakable, she'll fail like the rest. But the betting pools quietly adjusted, extending Voss's predicted survival time. The Crucible loomed as the ultimate test, a brutal gauntlet of strength, speed, and ingenuity. No human had survived it. Whispers of its lethality circulated. A Vren hero had completed it in 18 seconds centuries ago, earning legendary status. Voss, undeterred, began preparing, her mind already racing toward an unconventional solution. The Celestial Vanguard Academy was a marvel of engineering, its corridors carved from asteroid rock and reinforced with alloys that could withstand a star's collapse. For Lena Voss, it was a daily reminder of her species' insignificance. The air was too thin, the gravity too heavy, and the other cadets, Zychron, Lysarans, Vren, and Sylphids, treated her like a curiosity at best, a liability at worst. Yet she thrived where others expected her to crumble. Daily training was relentless. Mornings began with sensory recalibration, a euphemism for drills designed to overload every species' perception. For Voss, this meant navigating obstacle courses while bombarded with infrasound, ultraviolet pulses, and magnetic fields that made her teeth ache. The Zychron cadets powered through, their molten bodies shrugging off the chaos. Voss, however, used her human brain's knack for filtering noise, dodging hazards with a dancer's grace. Human Voss displays abnormal pattern recognition, noted instructor Thrime, its antennae twitching. She anticipates environmental shifts before they manifest. Kravos, the Zychron drill instructor, scoffed, his heat warping the air. Luck. It won't last. Luck or not, Voss's survival baffled her peers. Clysera, the Lissaran elite, doubled her efforts to undermine her. During a zero-gravity combat drill, Clysera accidentally disabled Voss's tether, leaving her drifting toward a simulated plasma field. Voss, unfazed, used a salvaged propulsion unit to redirect herself, landing a mock strike on Clysera's crystalline core. The move earned her a reprimand for unauthorized improvisation, but also grudging respect from a few Vren cadets. Human ingenuity borders on recklessness, Thrime reported to the faculty. She exploits loopholes we didn't know existed. Commandant Valthor's vibrations grew sharp. Loopholes won't save her from the crucible. Voss's evenings were spent in the Academy's archives, a vast digital repository guarded by an AI with the personality of a disgruntled librarian. She studied past crucible attempts, analyzing failures across species. Zychron broke under precision tasks, their brute strength useless against nanoscale challenges. Lissarans faltered in chaotic environments that disrupted their harmonic focus. Vren struggled with individual decision-making, their hive mind slowing under pressure. Sylphids, adaptable but slow, often ran out of time. Human Voss requests access to restricted biomechanical data, the archive AI reported to Valthor. Deny it, he ordered. Voss, anticipating this, had already hacked a workaround using a jury-rigged interface built from spare parts. Her human fingers, nimble and precise, assembled tools that baffled the Academy's technicians. She's building something, whispered Zorath, her Sylphid roommate, watching Voss tinker late into the night. Training escalated as the crucible approached. One drill required cadets to navigate a labyrinth under 10G gravity while solving cryptographic puzzles. Voss, unable to match the other's physicality, used a lightweight exosuit she'd modified to distribute pressure evenly. While Clysera smashed through barriers, Voss slipped through gaps, solving the puzzles faster than anyone. She cheats, Clysera vibrated, her crystals flaring red. She follows the rules, countered Thrime. You'd do well to study her methods. Clysera's resentment deepened, but Voss's successes were undeniable. By week 8, the betting pools had tripled her survival odds, though no one believed she'd conquer the Crucible. The Crucible's reputation was mythic. Designed during the Second Riftborn War, it tested every aspect of a warrior's potential. Its mortality rate, once 80%, had dropped to 25%, but survivable was a relative term. Cadets spoke of it in hushed tones, their bioluminescence dimming or mandibles stilling. The fastest recorded time, 18 seconds by a Vren collective, was a benchmark no one had touched in centuries. Voss's preparation was unorthodox. She requested raw materials from the quartermaster, a grizzled Zychron named Gorvax. Standard kit, human, he growled, tossing her a reinforced suit. No kit, Voss said. I need polymers, microcircuits, and neural amplifiers. Cultural accommodation, regulation 52D. Gorvax's molten eyes narrowed, but he complied, muttering about human nonsense. In her quarters, Voss worked tirelessly, assembling a device that Zorath described as a mechanical extension of her mind. It was a neural interface, designed to amplify her brain's fine motor control. What's it for? Zorath asked, its form rippling curiously. Winning, Voss replied, her fingers dancing over the prototype. As the crucible loomed, tensions rose. Clysera's sabotage grew bolder. She spiked Voss's nutrient rations with a mild toxin, forcing a day in the infirmary. Voss emerged, phased, her eyes burning with determination. She's not just surviving, Thryme noted. She's evolving. The faculty began to notice. During a tactical simulation, Voss outmaneuvered a Vren swarm by predicting their collective movements. A feat no non-hive species had achieved. Valthor, watching, vibrated with unease. If she reaches the Crucible, we may have underestimated humanity. The betting pools, once a source of amusement, now carried a nervous edge. Voss wasn't just a punchline anymore. She was a wild card. The Academy's atmosphere grew heavy as the Crucible's date approached. Cadets, normally boisterous, moved with quiet focus. The Vren synchronized their movements with eerie precision. Zychron dimmed their molten glow, and even the Sylphids restrained their shape-shifting antics. Lena Voss, however, seemed unaffected. Her routine a blend of relentless training and secretive tinkering. Her neural interface was nearly complete. Built from scavenged parts, microcircuits from a scrapped drone, polymers from a medical fabricator, and neural amplifiers bartered from a Vren technician, it was a marvel of human ingenuity. Zorath, watching her solder late one night, bubbled, "This violates no regulations?" "None," Voss said. "It's just a tool to translate what humans already do best." Her confidence unnerved her roommate, who oozed away to report the device to Clysera. The Lissaran, already seething, confronted Voss during a group drill. "Your tricks won't save you," she vibrated, her crystals flaring. "The Crucible breaks everyone." "Everyone but me," Voss shot back, earning a harmonic screech that shattered a nearby console. Training intensified. One exercise simulated a rift-borne attack, with cadets tasked to disable a mock-dimensional rift under crushing radiation. Zychron cadets melted the barriers, but Voss used her interface to hack the rift's control matrix, shutting it down in half the time. Kravos, grudgingly impressed, noted, "She exploits systems, not strength." Clysera's sabotage escalated. She rigged Voss's exosuit to malfunction during a high-gravity sprint, nearly crushing her. Voss, anticipating sabotage, had installed a manual override, escaping with only bruises. "You're persistent," Clysera sneered. "But persistence isn't victory." Voss ignored her, focusing on the Crucible's history. She learned it was a quantum-based test, adapting to each cadet's biology. For Zychron, it demanded raw power. For Lissaran's precision, for Vren, coordination. Humans with no obvious physical edge had always failed by trying to mimic alien strengths. Voss had another plan. Lean into humanity's neural dexterity. She approached Professor Silas, a Sylphid historian whose lectures on rift-borne wars were a masterclass in cosmic terror. "Are there limits on Crucible equipment?" she asked. Silas's form pulsed with amusement. "The Crucible nullifies enhancements. It's designed to break you, not your toys." Voss nodded, scribbling notes that made Clysera's crystals hum with suspicion. The betting pools now favored Voss surviving at least 10 seconds in the Crucible, a record for humans. The faculty, divided, debated her potential. Thryme argued, "Her neural processing rivals our best AI." Valthor countered, "Her body will fail her. It always does." 2 days before the test, Voss finalized her interface, a sleek gauntlet that linked her nervous system to micro-actuators. It could manipulate objects at a nanometer scale, translating her brain's precision into physical action. She tested it in secret, rewiring a training drone to dance like a marionette. Zorath, witnessing this, bubbled nervously. "This changes things." The night before the Crucible, the Academy buzzed with tension. Cadets performed rituals. Zychron entered trances. Lissarans aligned their crystals. Vren merged consciousnesses. Voss alone calibrated her gauntlet, her hazel eyes glinting with focus. "You're not afraid?" Zorath asked. "Fear's just a signal," Voss said. "I'm listening to it." The Crucible chamber was a nightmare of design, a vast dome, lined with sensors, shielded platforms for observers, and a central black sphere that pulsed with an unnatural aura. Medical drones stood ready, their reconstitution pods prepped for the inevitable. Commandant Valthor's voice echoed, "Cadets will face the Crucible in order of species rank. Approach the sphere, engage the challenge, and extract the core. Failure is likely. Death is possible. The tests began. A Vren collective navigated a swarm-based puzzle, finishing in 40 seconds with minimal losses. Zorath oozed through a shape-shifting maze, emerging in 35 seconds, slightly diminished. Clysera faced a harmonic labyrinth, solving it in 28 seconds. Her crystals gleaming with pride. The crowd roared, recognizing a future commander. Then came Voss. Species human, designation Lena Voss, Valthor announced, his tone flat. The chamber stilled, drones hovering closer. Voss stepped forward, her gauntlet gleaming under the red lights. Regulation 52D, she said, slipping it on. Cultural accommodation. What is that? Clysera demanded, her vibrations sharp. Voss smiled. A human advantage. The crucible's black sphere hummed, scanning Lena Voss's biology. The chamber's display projected a challenge, a multidimensional maze requiring strength to shift gravitic barriers, speed to dodge temporal traps, and precision to navigate quantum fields. It was a test no human body could endure. The observers leaned forward, expecting collapse. Voss's gauntlet activated, its micro-actuators whirring. Instead of brute force, she used the device to manipulate the sphere's quantum interface directly. Her fingers, guided by neural impulses, danced across the controls with inhuman precision. The maze shifted, barriers parting as she rewired its logic. What is she doing? Clysera vibrated, her crystals pulsing red. 11 seconds later, the sphere chimed. The core ejected into Voss's hand, her gauntlet retracting smoothly. The display read, 11:02 seconds, a new Academy record. Silence gripped the chamber. Medical drones, confused, scanned Voss repeatedly, expecting catastrophic failure. Commandant Valthor's crystals vibrated erratically. Impossible, he muttered. Instructor Thryme's antennae twitched. She didn't solve the maze, she redefined it. Clysera stormed forward. This violates protocol. Voss held up her gauntlet. Section 19D, native biological advantages are permitted. This just translates my nervous system's precision. Humans evolved to manipulate tools with sub-millimeter accuracy. I used that. Professor Silas oozed forward, fascinated. You bypassed the physical challenge by interfacing with the Crucible's quantum core. Brilliant. Voss nodded. The Crucible tests problem-solving, not strength. Humans solve problems differently. The implications rippled through the chamber. Voss hadn't cheated. She'd exposed a flaw in the Concordium's assumptions. Strength and speed were secondary to ingenuity. The betting pools collapsed, odds recalculated in real time. Valthor, recovering, addressed the crowd. Cadet Voss has redefined our metrics. Her success is unprecedented. Clysera, her crystals dim, approached. As agreed, I acknowledge human capacity, but you're an anomaly. Voss grinned. Wait till you meet the next batch. I've sent my gauntlet specs to Earth. Panic flickered among the observers. A single human had upended centuries of tradition. What would thousands do? The faculty scrambled to revise protocols, adding neural metrics to training. The Crucible, once absolute, now seemed fallible. At the graduation ceremony, Voss stood. Among alien giants, her commission a symbol of change. The Concordium's commander, a Zycran named Dragor, leaned close. The Riftborn may fear you more than us. Voss's smile was fierce. They should. The aftermath of Lena Voss's triumph shook the Celestial Vanguard Academy to its faculty meetings, usually dry affairs, buzzed with debates over human potential. Instructor Thryme proposed new training modules focused on neural adaptability, citing Voss's gauntlet as a game changer. Commandant Valthor, still reeling, resisted. One human does not rewrite our doctrine, he vibrated, though his tone lacked conviction. Clysera, once Voss's rival, became an unlikely ally. Her crystalline pride stung, but she recognized the strategic value of Voss's approach. During a post-Crucible review, she presented a proposal. Integrate human-style neural interfaces into Lysaran training. Their minds see angles we miss, she admitted, her vibrations soft. The faculty, stunned, approved a trial. Voss, now a commissioned officer, mentored the next human cohort. Her gauntlet design, shared via Earth's networks, sparked a wave of innovation. Human applicants flooded the academy, their neural processing scores off the charts. The betting pools, once a joke, now tracked human success rates with nervous precision. The Concordium's military council took notice. Reports of Voss's 11-second record reached distant systems, prompting re-evaluations of humanity's role. Zychron generals, accustomed to dominance, questioned their reliance on brute force. Sylphids, ever adaptable, began experimenting with neural mimics, though none matched human precision. Voss's influence extended beyond the academy. During a simulated rift-borne incursion, she led a mixed-species team, using her gauntlet to disable a mock rift in seconds. Her alien teammates, initially skeptical, followed her lead, their respect growing. "She sees the unseen," Zorath bubbled, its form mimicking Voss's silhouette in tribute. The crucible itself came under scrutiny. Engineers discovered its quantum core had a blind spot. It underestimated neural complexity. Voss's gauntlet exploited this, bypassing physical tests for direct system manipulation. A redesign was proposed, but Voss argued against it. "The crucible tests warriors, not bodies. Keep it as is." Her words carried weight. The Academy adopted microkinetic warfare as a new discipline, with Voss as its first instructor. Her classes drew cadets from every species, eager to learn human problem-solving. Clysera, now a friend, co-taught, blending Lissaran precision with Voss's ingenuity. Earth, meanwhile, ramped up production of neural interfaces. Factories churned out gauntlets, each tailored to amplify human neural strengths. The Concordium's liaison office, overwhelmed by applications, began screening for neural dexterity, a metric they'd never considered before. The galaxy watched. Species that once dismissed humans as fragile now studied them with wary respect. The Riftborn, still a distant threat, loomed larger in strategic discussions. If a single human could outwit the Crucible, what could they do against cosmic horrors? Lena Voss's legacy reshaped the Galactic Concordium. Her 11-second Crucible run became legend, a story told in training halls and diplomatic summits. The Academy, once a fortress of tradition, embraced change. Neural training programs spread, with humans at their core. Voss, now a commander, led expeditions against minor Riftborn incursions, her gauntlet a standard tool among her teams. Clysera, promoted to strategist, collaborated with Voss on new doctrines. Their partnership, born from rivalry, symbolized the Concordium's shift toward integration. Zychron adopted neural amplifiers, Vren studied human individualism, and Sylphids refined their mimicry to emulate human cognition. The Vren, once dismissive, now sent emissaries to Earth, seeking neural tech. The betting pools evolved, no longer mocking humans, but predicting their breakthroughs. The next human cohort, armed with Voss's gauntlet designs, shattered records, with 3 completing the Crucible in under 20 seconds. The galaxy, once skeptical, now saw humans as a wildcard force. On Earth, Voss's triumph sparked a renaissance. Neural tech advanced, blending with AI to create systems that rivaled Concordium standards. Human recruits, once rare, became a steady stream, their applications citing Voss as inspiration. The Concordium's commander, Dragor, visited Earth, a historic first. "Your species surprises us," he rumbled. "Keep surprising." The Riftborn threat grew, with reports of larger incursions. Voss, leading a coalition fleet, used her neural interface to outmaneuver a rift, saving a star system. Her name became synonymous with hope, a beacon for species facing cosmic dread. The Academy's motto, once strength and unity, added ingenuity and diversity. As Voss stood on a podium, addressing new cadets, she held up her gauntlet. "We're not the strongest or fastest," she said, "but we think differently. That's our power." The crowd, alien and human alike, roared in agreement. The universe, vast and unforgiving, had underestimated humanity. Never again would make that mistake. If you enjoyed Lena Voss's saga, support our channel. Like, subscribe, and share to keep these cosmic tales alive. Join us for more stories of humanity's rise among the stars.